Please, make it fast! Dr. Victoria Ashford lay collapsed on the marble stage, white Chanel suit crumpled, blonde hair spilling across the floor. The 45th floor conference room of Sterling Pharmaceuticals had fallen silent. 200 investors stood frozen, staring. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, Manhattan glittered in the evening darkness. Victoria's hand stretched toward the back corner, toward a black man in a faded blue janitor's uniform, late 50s, standing in shadow with a cleaning rag. "Marcus, please." Her breathing came rapid, shallow. Sweat beaded on her forehead. "Please, make it fast." Every head turned from the fallen CEO to the janitor. Confusion swept the room. Why was she begging the cleaning man? What did she want him to do? The janitor stood motionless. His face was unreadable. Then his hands began to move. The entire room went silent. 6 hours earlier, 6 o'clock in the morning, the Sterling Pharmaceuticals building rose 50 stories above Manhattan, blue-tinted glass reflecting the dawn sky. The lobby gleamed with Italian marble and crystal chandeliers. A bronze plaque read, "Healing Through Science." Marcus Hayes pushed his cleaning cart toward the service elevator. 58 years old, 6 feet tall with shoulders curved from years of bending over mop buckets. Gray hair cut short. The blue janitor's uniform hung loose on his thinning frame. His hands, large and calloused, gripped the cart handle. Morning staff rushed past him. A woman in Prada heels nearly bumped his cart, didn't apologize, didn't look. He was invisible. A white man stepped into the elevator, saw the cleaning cart, and stepped back out. "I'll catch the next one." Alone, Marcus caught his reflection in the polished doors. Tired eyes, deep lines. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a gold ring wrapped in tissue, held it to the light. American College of Cardiology, Dr. Marcus Hayes, 2,000 lives saved, 2019. He wrapped it quickly. The doors opened on the 45th floor. The corridor stretched before him, glass walls showcasing executive offices. Photographs lined the walls, company milestones, award ceremonies, all smiling white faces. Through the glass conference room, workers hung a banner. Cardio Revive, the future of heart medicine, $2 billion investment. Marcus mopped the marble, the same motion every night for 4 years. His radio crackled. "Hayes, executive washroom. Someone made a mess." The washroom gleamed with black granite and gold fixtures. Paper towels overflowed from a toilet. Marcus pulled on rubber gloves, knelt down. 2 men in suits walked in, talking. "Victoria's announcing the biggest pharmaceutical deal tonight. She's brilliant. Remember how she exposed that fraud doctor 4 years ago?" Marcus's hand paused. "The black guy who tried to steal her research? Marcus Hayes. Caught him taking bribes. These affirmative action hires, give them an inch, they take a mile." They laughed. Left. Marcus remained kneeling, jaw tight, fists clenched in the rubber gloves. 4 years ago, he stood at these sinks in a white coat. People had called him Dr. Hayes. He finished cleaning. In the mirror, for a moment, he saw himself as he used to be. Then the image faded. Just a janitor. At 2 o'clock, the supervising manager, white, 30s, overweight, stood with arms crossed. "Hayes, this floor better shine. Billionaires walking here tonight. I want it perfect. And stay out of sight once guests arrive. Last thing we need is..." He gestured at Marcus. "You know, stay invisible." Marcus spent 3 hours polishing marble on his knees. His back ached, but the floor gleamed. At 5:30, guests arrived. Men in Armani, women in Dior. Expensive cologne filled the air. Champagne flowed. Laughter echoed. Marcus stood in the back corner near the service door, cart hidden behind a plant. No one looked at him. Then she walked in. Dr. Victoria Ashford, 52, blonde bob, white Chanel suit, red Louboutin heels clicking on the marble Marcus had polished. She moved through the crowd like a shark, confident, magnetic, predatory. People parted for her. She smiled, shook hands, and commanded the room. Marcus watched from the shadows. Victoria passed within 10 feet. Her eyes swept over him without recognition, without seeing him at all. 4 years ago, she'd looked at him very differently. Victoria moved to the stage. The lights dimmed. Marcus Hayes stood invisible in his corner, watching the woman who had stolen his life prepare to celebrate her greatest triumph. In less than 2 hours, she would be on that stage, dying, begging the invisible janitor to save her. 6 o'clock. The presentation began. Victoria stood at the podium, bathed in the spotlight. Behind her, a massive screen displayed the Cardio Revive logo. 200 investors sat in rows of leather chairs, phones silenced, attention focused. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 years ago, I faced a choice. Victoria's voice rang clear, confident. I could compromise my principles, or I could fight for what was right. I chose to fight. Applause rippled through the audience. Marcus stood motionless in his corner, 20 feet from the stage, his cleaning cart beside him, in the shadows. We live in a world where integrity matters less than it should, where people cut corners, take shortcuts, sell out for quick money. Victoria paced the stage, her heels clicking. But not here, not at Sterling Pharmaceuticals. More applause. Marcus's hand tightened on his cart handle. 4 years ago, I exposed a man who tried to destroy this company from within. Victoria's voice hardened. A so-called doctor who accepted bribes from our competitors, who falsified research, who put profits over patients. The audience murmured, engaged. That man thought his credentials would protect him, thought his reputation made him untouchable. Victoria paused for effect. I proved him wrong. Because real science, real integrity, they don't compromise. Ever. Standing ovation. 200 people on their feet, clapping. Marcus stood in the corner. His face was expressionless, but his jaw muscles worked beneath the skin. Victoria launched into her Cardio Revive presentation. Slides showed clinical trial data, projected revenues, market analysis. The investors leaned forward, captivated. At 6:45, Victoria called for a brief intermission. Waiters appeared with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. The crowd dispersed into small groups, networking. Marcus received a radio call. Hayes, spill in the hallway outside the conference room. Get it cleaned up. He pushed his cart out. Someone had knocked over a champagne glass. Liquid pooled on the marble. Marcus knelt with his mop, soaking it up. Victoria emerged from the conference room surrounded by 5 executives, all white, all men, talking animatedly. Marcus was kneeling directly in their path. Victoria walked forward. Her red-soled heel landed inches from Marcus's hand. She didn't slow down, didn't acknowledge him. He had to jerk his hand back to avoid being stepped on. The executives followed in her wake, chatting. Not one glanced down. Dr. Ashford, the projections are incredible. $2 billion in funding will make Cardio Revive the biggest cardiac drug launch in history. Victoria's voice drifted back. When you refuse to tolerate mediocrity, excellence follows. That's the Sterling way. They disappeared down the hallway. Marcus remained kneeling on the floor. The champagne had soaked into his uniform pants, cold and sticky. He continued mopping as if nothing had happened. At 7 o'clock, the presentation resumed. Victoria introduced her chief medical officer, Dr. Philip Crane, white, mid-60s, silver hair, expensive suit. Dr. Crane discussed the science behind Cardio Revive, technical details, molecular mechanisms, cardiac efficacy rates. Marcus listened from his corner. His eyes narrowed slightly as Crane showed a slide labeled Clinical Trial Results, Phase 3. Something was wrong with the data. The dosage listed, 40 milligrams twice daily, combined with the patient population parameters shown, would create a dangerous drug interaction in patients with certain pre-existing conditions, specifically hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Marcus looked at Victoria, at the slight sheen of perspiration on her forehead. The way she touched her chest briefly when she thought no one was watching. The subtle jugular vein distension is visible even from 20 feet away. She has HCM, he thought, and she's taking her own drug. She's slowly poisoning herself. But he said nothing. He was invisible. Who would listen to a janitor? At 7:30, the formal presentation ended. Q&A began. An elderly investor stood. Dr. Ashford, I've heard rumors about the doctor you mentioned earlier. The one who committed fraud. What happened to him? Victoria's expression hardened. Justice happened. His medical license was revoked. He was prosecuted. As far as I know, he's no longer in medicine. Probably in prison where he belongs. Murmurs of approval from the audience. The investor pressed on. Was he really guilty? I mean, you hear stories about wrongful accusations. Victoria's voice turned ice cold. Sir, I don't deal in rumors or speculation. I deal in facts. The facts were clear. He was guilty. End of story. Sharp applause. The matter was closed. Marcus felt something twist in his chest. 4 years of holding it in. 4 years of silence. But he remained still, silent, invisible. At 8 o'clock, another intermission. A young reporter from Bloomberg, Michelle Carter, wandered toward the back of the room trying to escape the crowd. She ended up near Marcus's corner. She pulled out her phone, checking emails, accidentally bumped into Marcus's cart. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. The first person all evening to apologize to him. Marcus nodded. It's fine. Michelle looked at him properly then. Really looked. You okay? You look, I don't know, tired? Long shift, Marcus said. A waiter walked past, carrying a tray of champagne. Stumbled slightly. A glass tipped, fell. Marcus's hand shot out, caught it before it hit the floor. The motion was impossibly fast, precise. A surgeon's reflexes. Michelle's eyes widened. Whoa. Nice catch. Marcus handed the glass back to the waiter. Careful. Michelle watched him thoughtfully. You've got good hands? Just practice, Marcus said quietly. Before she could respond, the lights dimmed. The final portion of the presentation was beginning. Victoria returned to the stage. This was the climax, the funding announcement. The moment Sterling Pharmaceuticals would secure $2 billion and cement its place as an industry leader. Tonight, Victoria began, we stand on the edge of history. Cardio Revive will save millions of lives, and it exists because we refused to compromise, because we demanded excellence, because we eliminated the rot that threatened to destroy us. Her voice rose, powerful and clear. Some people think success should be given, that credentials and degrees entitle them to respect. She paused. They're wrong. Success is earned. Through integrity, through sacrifice, through the courage to expose fraud and corruption, no matter who it hurts. The audience hung on every word. 4 years ago, a man tried to take what we built, tried to profit from our work while contributing nothing but lies. Victoria's hand pressed briefly to her chest. But I stopped him, because that's what leaders do. They protect. They fight. They win. Thunderous applause. Marcus stood in his corner. His hands hung at his sides, calloused, scarred from cleaning chemicals, hands that had once held beating hearts, hands that had saved 2,374 lives. Nobody knew. Nobody cared. Victoria continued. Tonight we celebrate not just Cardio Revive. We celebrate a culture that refuses to tolerate weakness, fraud, or failure. Her breathing was slightly labored now. Marcus noticed. The hand touching her chest came more frequently. We celebrate excellence, real excellence, not the kind that's handed out like participation trophies, but the kind that's forged through. She paused, caught her breath. The audience waited. Forged through dedication and. Her hand pressed harder against her chest. Marcus took a step forward, then stopped. What could he do? Who would listen? Victoria recovered, smiled. And that's why I'm proud to announce that Sterling Pharmaceuticals has secured $2 billion in funding for Cardio Revive, making this the largest cardiac drug launch in pharmaceutical history. The room erupted. People stood, cheering, applauding. Victoria smiled, waved. But Marcus saw the tremor in her hand, the paleness creeping into her face. She has maybe 15 minutes, he thought, 20 at most. But he stood in his corner, silent, invisible. The woman who destroyed him was dying, and nobody knew except the janitor they couldn't see. 8:15. The celebration continued. Champagne flowed. The $2 billion announcement had transformed the room into a party. Marcus remained in his corner, waiting for permission to leave. Near the refreshment table, an elderly investor, 70, white hair, gray suit, suddenly swayed. His champagne glass slipped, shattered on the floor. He gripped the table edge, face pale, sweating. I don't feel well. People stepped back. Someone called out, "Is there a doctor?" Dr. Crane, the chief medical officer, pushed through the crowd. "Sir, what's wrong?" "Dizzy. Everything's spinning." The man's knees buckled. Crane caught him, lowered him into a chair. The investor's breathing came fast and shallow, skin grayish. Crane's face showed panic. "Someone call 911. Heart attack." Marcus watched from 20 feet away. His eyes tracked the symptoms. Pale skin, but not the right kind. Breathing rapid, but regular. No chest pain evident. Not cardiac. Crane prepared to start CPR. Marcus stepped forward. "Wait." Every head turned. Crane looked up, annoyed. "Step back. Medical emergency." "He's not having a heart attack," Marcus said quietly. "Who the hell are you?" "The janitor," someone muttered. Crane's face flushed. "Get back to your corner. I'm a physician." Marcus didn't move. "Look at his skin. Pale but not cyanotic. Breathing rapid but rhythmic. No chest pain. His pulse is weak but steady. 52 beats per minute." Crane stared. "How do you know his pulse?" "I can see the jugular vein, the pulsation rate." Murmurs swept the crowd. Victoria stepped forward, eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" Marcus focused on Crane. "He's hypoglycemic, low blood sugar, skipped dinner, drank champagne on empty stomach. If you do CPR, you'll break his ribs for nothing. Get him orange juice." Crane hesitated. A younger investor pushed forward with a glucose meter. "Here." Crane pricked the investor's finger, checked the reading. His face went pale. 42. Severe hypoglycemia. Someone brought orange juice. The investor drank. Within 30 seconds, color returned to his face. His breathing steadied. 2 minutes later, he sat up. "I feel better." The room exhaled collectively. Crane stood slowly, staring at Marcus. "How did you know?" Marcus turned to walk away. "Wait," Crane called. "What's your name?" "Marcus." "Marcus what? Where did you learn?" Victoria's voice cut through, sharp. "Dr. Crane, I'm sure our janitorial staff receives basic first aid training." "Marcus, thank you. You may return to your duties." Her tone made it clear. Conversation over. Marcus walked back to his corner, but people were staring now, whispering. Michelle Carter, the Bloomberg reporter, had recorded everything on her phone. Near the stage, Dr. Alan Carter, 68, cardiology professor from Columbia, stood with his wife. That man just performed a differential diagnosis from 20 feet away, he whispered. That's not first aid training, that's years of clinical experience. His wife frowned. Maybe he was a paramedic? No. Dr. Carter studied Marcus's profile. Something about him is familiar. The way he assessed the patient. The confidence. On stage, Victoria touched her chest again. Her hand trembled. She turned to an assistant, whispered. The assistant handed her a pill bottle from her purse. Victoria took one discreetly, washing it down with water. Marcus saw, recognized the label from this distance. Cardio Revive. She's taking her own experimental drug. With undiagnosed HCM, that pill was a ticking time bomb. He checked his watch. Based on her symptoms, the drug interaction, the stress, she had maybe 10 minutes before acute decompensation, maybe less. Victoria moved back to the center of the room, smiling, accepting congratulations. Marcus stood in his corner, watching the countdown. Should he have warned her? Would anyone listen? Could he save the woman who destroyed him? 8:27. Victoria stood near the center of the room, surrounded by admirers. She laughed at someone's joke, then pressed her hand to her chest. The gesture was subtle. No one noticed, except Marcus. He watched her breathing pattern change, faster, shallower. The jugular vein distension was more pronounced now, visible even across the room. Her face had lost color beneath the makeup. She was crashing. Marcus took a step forward, then stopped. What could he do? He was a janitor. They'd just dismissed him for trying to help. If he spoke up again, they'd throw him out. Victoria swayed slightly, caught herself on someone's arm, played it off as a joke. Marcus's hands tightened into fists. 8:29. Victoria excused herself from the group, walked toward the stage, each step measured, careful. She was fighting to stay upright. She reached the podium, gripped it with both hands. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, her voice slightly breathless. Before we conclude tonight's celebration, I want to say one more. Her hand flew to her chest. The microphone fell from her grip, crashed against the podium with a sharp crack that echoed through the room. Victoria's legs gave out. She collapsed onto the stage, her white Chanel suit crumpling against the polished marble Marcus had spent hours cleaning. For one frozen second, no one moved. Then chaos. Screams, people surging forward, chairs scraping, 200 voices shouting at once. Dr. Ashford! Someone call 911! Oh my God! Oh my God! Dr. Crane rushed to the stage, stumbling in his haste. He dropped to his knees beside Victoria. Victoria! Can you hear me? Her eyes were open but unfocused. Her breathing came in short, desperate gasps. Blood trickled from her lip where she'd bitten down. Crane pressed his fingers to her neck, checking her pulse. His hand shook. Someone call an ambulance! Now! A young woman from Victoria's executive team, blonde, mid-20s, pulled out her phone, hands trembling so badly she nearly dropped it. 911, what's your emergency? We need an ambulance at Sterling Pharmaceuticals, 45th floor. The CEO is having a heart attack. The operator's voice came through faintly. Ambulance is dispatched. 18 minutes to your location. 18 minutes. Crane looked up, face pale. She doesn't have 18 minutes. He positioned his hands over Victoria's chest, preparing for CPR. Marcus's voice cut through the chaos. Stop. Heads turned. Crane didn't look up. Not now, Janitor. This is serious. Marcus stepped forward, out of his corner. If you compress her chest right now, you'll kill her. Security! Someone shouted. Get this man out of here! 2 security guards appeared, moving toward Marcus. Crane positioned his hands on Victoria's sternum. She's in cardiac arrest. I have to... She's not in arrest, Marcus said, his voice carrying across the room with unexpected authority. Her heart is beating. 140 per minute, irregular rhythm. Look at her jugular vein. See the distension? She's in acute decompensated heart failure, not arrest. If you do chest compressions, you'll rupture her already failing ventricle. The security guards hesitated. Crane finally looked up, face flushed with anger and confusion. "How the hell would you know?" "Because I can see it," Marcus said. "Jugular vein distension 8 centimeters above the sternal angle. Peripheral cyanosis in her fingertips. Kussmaul's sign. Her neck veins are engorging with each breath. Classic signs of right heart failure with acute left ventricular decompensation." The room had gone quiet. Everyone was staring at the janitor using words that sounded like a foreign language. A voice from the crowd. Dr. Alan Carter, the Columbia professor. "He's right. I can see the JVP from here." Crane's hands hovered over Victoria, uncertain. An investor in the front row, white, 60s, red face, shouted at Marcus. "Who the hell do you think you are? Let the real doctor work!" Marcus ignored him, focused on Crane. "She has hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, undiagnosed, and she's been taking Cardio Revive. I saw her take a pill 10 minutes ago. That drug is contraindicated for HCM. It's causing ventricular arrhythmia and acute heart failure." Crane's face went white. That's impossible. We screened all trial participants for HCM." "You screened trial participants," Marcus said. "You didn't screen Victoria." Crane looked down at Victoria, then back at Marcus. "If you're right, what do we do?" "Step away from her." "I can't just—" Victoria's hand moved weakly. Her fingers clutched at the air. Her eyes, glazed with pain, searched the crowd until they found Marcus standing in the harsh overhead lights. Recognition flickered across her face. Her lips moved. The words came out broken, desperate. "Marcus." The room collectively inhaled. "She knows his name." Victoria's hand reached toward him, trembling. "Please." Tears streaked through her makeup. "Please, make it fast. I'm dying." Absolute silence. 200 people frozen, staring from the fallen CEO to the black janitor in the faded blue uniform. An executive near the stage, white man, 50s, turned to his colleague. "Why does she know the janitor's name?" Someone else whispered, "What's happening?" Marcus stood motionless. 4 years of humiliation, 4 years of being invisible, 4 years of watching this woman lie about him, it all crashed over him like a wave. She was dying. The woman who destroyed his life was dying. He could walk away, let her go. It would be justice. The security guards moved closer. "Sir, you need to leave." "Wait!" Dr. Carter called out. "Let him approach." Marcus looked at Victoria, at the terror in her eyes, at the hand reaching for him. In his mind, he heard the oath he'd taken 30 years ago. First, do no harm. He'd saved 2,374 lives. Could he refuse to save number 2,375? Marcus walked forward. People parted without thinking, creating a path to the stage. He climbed the 3 steps, knelt beside Victoria. His hands, rough, calloused, scarred from cleaning chemicals, reached up and stripped off the rubber gloves he'd been wearing all evening. The room held its breath. "Everyone back," Marcus said quietly. "Give me 3 feet of clearance. Someone tell the ambulance this is hypertrophic cardiomyopathy with acute heart failure. They need to bring IV furosemide and nitroglycerin, and I need complete silence." No one moved. Marcus looked up. His eyes swept the crowd. "Now!" Something in his voice, the authority, the absolute certainty, made 200 people step back. Michelle Carter raised her phone, recording. Marcus turned back to Victoria, placed 2 fingers on her carotid artery. His hands began to move, and the entire room went silent. Marcus's fingers pressed against Victoria's carotid artery. Silent count. His eyes tracked the rhythm against his watch. Pulse 140, thready, irregular. Blood pressure is approximately 80/50. She's in compensated shock. His hands moved to her chest, palpating gently through the Chanel suit, feeling for the apex beat of her heart. Apex displaced laterally 2 centimeters, consistent with left ventricular hypertrophy. Dr. Crane knelt on the opposite side, watching Marcus's hands with growing amazement. "How are you?" "Quiet," Marcus said softly. His fingers moved to Victoria's neck, assessing the jugular vein. JVP elevated 8 centimeters above the sternal angle. Right heart failure confirmed. Every movement is precise. Practiced. The movements of someone who had done this thousands of times. Dr. Alan Carter pushed through the crowd to the front. He stood 5 feet from the stage, watching intently. Something clicked in his memory. Those hands. That examination technique. The calm, methodical approach. "Oh my God," Dr. Carter whispered. Marcus ignored him, focused on Victoria. He tore off his janitor's uniform shirt, wadded it into a pillow, placed it gently under her head, elevated her legs using someone's briefcase. "She needs to be in the Trendelenburg position, increases venous return to the heart." He spoke to Victoria directly now, voice calm and steady. "Victoria, listen to me. You're in acute heart failure, but your heart is still beating. I need you to breathe slowly. In through your nose, 4 seconds. Hold. Out through your mouth, 6 seconds. Follow my count." Victoria's terrified eyes locked onto his face. Marcus counted. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Victoria tried to follow. Her breathing gradually slowed and became more controlled. Color began returning to her face, just slightly. Dr. Carter's voice rang out, trembling. "Ladies and gentlemen, I need to tell you something." The crowd turned. Dr. Carter pointed at Marcus. "This man is not a janitor." Confused murmurs. "His name is Dr. Marcus Hayes. He's one of the greatest cardiothoracic surgeons this country has ever produced." The room erupted in whispers. Dr. Carter continued, his voice growing stronger. "Dr. Hayes pioneered the Hayes bypass technique. It's now used in hospitals worldwide. He saved over 2,000 lives. He taught at Johns Hopkins, Columbia, Mount Sinai. He trained half the cardiologists in New York." People pulled out phones, searching the name. A young investor found an old article. "Holy shit! It's true, Dr. Marcus Hayes, chief of cardiothoracic surgery at Mount Sinai. But it says his license was revoked in 2020 for fraud and accepting bribes." All eyes turned to Marcus. He didn't look up, kept monitoring Victoria's breathing. An executive near the stage, the same one who'd commented about affirmative action hires earlier, went pale. "Wait, Hayes. That's the name Victoria mentioned, the doctor she exposed." The pieces were falling into place. Victoria, lying on the floor, heard everything. Tears streamed down her face. She tried to speak. I need to say to..." Marcus shook his head. "Don't talk. Save your energy." "No." Her voice came out strangled. "They need to know. Victoria, please." She grabbed his hand weakly. "Let me say this before I die." The room leaned in, silent. Victoria's voice shook. 4 years ago, Marcus refused to work for me. Said my contracts were exploitative." She gasped for air. Marcus counted her breaths, but didn't stop her. "I was angry. Wanted his name, his reputation, to legitimize Sterling." More tears. "So I forged emails, made it look like he took bribes from competitors." Gasps from the crowd. I paid 2 employees to testify against him. Lies. All lies. Victoria's hand clutched Marcus's arm. I destroyed his medical license, his career, his family. Everything, she sobbed. I took everything from a good man because of my ego, my greed. The room was absolutely silent. And now, Victoria's voice broke. The only person who can save my life is the man I destroyed. She looked up at Marcus, tears flowing freely. You have every right to let me die. I deserve it. Marcus looked down at her. 4 years of pain, humiliation, loss, all of it visible in his eyes for just a moment. Then his face softened. I'm not a janitor, Victoria, he said quietly. And I'm not a vengeful man. I'm a doctor. And doctors don't choose who lives or dies based on personal grudges. He adjusted the makeshift pillow under her head. I took an oath 30 years ago, to do no harm, to heal the sick. That oath doesn't expire because someone wronged me. His voice carried across the silent room. You tried to destroy Marcus Hayes, the doctor. But you couldn't, because being a doctor isn't a title. It's who I am at my core. You can take my license, my job, my reputation, but you can't take my ability to save lives. From Marcus's shirt pocket, something fell, a small tissue-wrapped object hitting the floor. Michelle Carter picked it up. Unwrap it. A gold ring. She read the inscription aloud. American College of Cardiology, Dr. Marcus Hayes, 2,000 lives saved, 2019. The room exploded in shocked whispers. 2,000 lives, and he'd been cleaning toilets. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Victoria looked at Marcus, her savior and her victim. I'll tell them everything, she whispered. I'll clear your name. I promise. Marcus nodded once. The ambulance was 3 minutes away, but Victoria's heart was failing faster. 8:42. The paramedics burst through the conference room doors, equipment rattling on the gurney. The lead paramedic, Latino, mid-30s, competent eyes, knelt beside Victoria. What have we got? Marcus spoke before Dr. Crane could answer. 52-year-old female, known hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, acute decompensated heart failure, pulse 132 irregular, BP approximately 85/55, JVP elevated, peripheral edema present. She's been taking Cardio Revive, an experimental cardiac drug, 40 milligrams twice daily for approximately 6 months. Drug-induced ventricular arrhythmia. The paramedic looked up sharply. Are you her physician? Pause. I was. What's your name? Dr. Marcus Hayes. The paramedic's younger partner, a white woman with red hair, stared. Wait, the Dr. Hayes? From Mount Sinai? Marcus didn't answer. The lead paramedic was already moving, placing oxygen on Victoria, starting an IV line. We need to transport you immediately. Mount Sinai's closest, 12 minutes. Marcus stood. I'm coming with you. The paramedic hesitated, looking at Marcus's janitor uniform. Are you currently licensed? The question hung in the air. Dr. Crane stepped forward. His license was revoked, but he just saved her life. She needs him. The lead paramedic made a decision. Get in. They loaded Victoria onto the gurney. Marcus climbed into the ambulance. Michelle Carter tried to follow, but the door closed. The ambulance screamed through Manhattan streets, sirens wailing. Inside, Marcus monitored Victoria's vital signs manually. His fingers never left her pulse. Pulse dropping. 110. She's compensating. The young paramedic radioed ahead. Mount Sinai, we're incoming with acute HCM crisis, patient critical, ETA 9 minutes. Victoria's eyes found Marcus's face. Don't leave me. I won't. They won't let you treat me. I know. Then how? I'll find a way. 8:54. The ambulance pulled into Mount Sinai's emergency bay. The doors flew open. A trauma team waited, nurses, residents, an attending physician. Dr. Sarah Patel, the attending cardiologist, took one look at the paramedic's report, then looked at Marcus climbing out of the ambulance in his janitor's uniform. Who are you? Marcus Hayes. I stabilized her at the scene. Dr. Patel's face changed. Recognition. Then hardness. You're not licensed. Step away from the patient. Dr. Patel, she has... I said step away. Security. Victoria, being wheeled past, reached out weakly. Please, let him help. Dr. Patel ignored her, shouting orders to her team. Get her to cardiac ICU stat. I want a full echo, cardiac enzymes, continuous monitoring. They rushed Victoria through the doors. Marcus tried to follow. A security guard, built like a linebacker, blocked his path. Sir, you need to stay here. She needs me. You're not authorized. Marcus watched Victoria disappear down the corridor, his hands clenched into fists. Dr. Alan Carter appeared, having followed in a taxi. Let him in. I'll take responsibility. The guard looked uncertain. Dr. Carter pulled out his hospital ID. I'm faculty here, cardiology department. Let him through. The guard stepped aside. They ran down the corridor, reaching the ICU just as Victoria was being transferred to a bed. Monitors beeped frantically. Her heart rate spiked on the screen, 160, 170. Dr. Patel worked quickly, professionally. Get me an echo now. Someone page cardiothoracic surgery. She might need emergency intervention. Marcus stood outside the glass partition, watching. The echo technician arrived, began the ultrasound. The image appeared on screen. Victoria's heart, struggling, the left ventricle massively hypertrophied, the septum dangerously thickened. Dr. Patel studied it, frowning. Severe HCM with LVOT obstruction. How did we miss this? She wasn't a patient here, a nurse said. This is her first admission. Marcus spoke through the glass. She hid it. Probably diagnosed years ago, refused treatment, didn't want it on her medical record, would have looked weak. Dr. Patel glanced at him, annoyed. Who let him in here? I did, Dr. Carter said, entering the ICU. And you should listen to him. He knows her case better than anyone. Dr. Patel's jaw tightened. He doesn't have a license. He has knowledge. Use it. Before Dr. Patel could respond, the monitors shrieked. Victoria's heart rate spiked to 190, then dropped precipitously, 140, 110, 80. Her eyes rolled back. The monitor was flatlined, a systole. She's coding, a nurse shouted. Dr. Patel grabbed the crash cart. Start compressions. Charge to 200. Marcus's voice cut through, urgent. Don't shock a systole. Dr. Patel ignored him, positioned the paddles. If you shock a flat line, you'll fry her heart, Marcus shouted. It's a non-shockable rhythm. You need epinephrine first, 1 milligram IV push, then 2 minutes of compressions to circulate it. Dr. Patel hesitated, paddles hovering. The nurse doing compressions looked up. Dr. Patel? A split-second decision. Dr. Patel lowered the paddles. Give epi, 1 milligram IV push. The nurse slammed the syringe into Victoria's IV line. Dr. Patel pointed at the compressing nurse. Continue high-quality CPR, 2 minutes. The nurse compressed, counting aloud. 1, 2, 3, 4. Marcus watched through the glass, silently counting with her. The 2 minutes felt like 2 hours. Check rhythm, Dr. Patel ordered. The nurse stopped compressions. The monitor showed a blip, then another. Sinus rhythm. Slow, but there. We have a pulse, the nurse exclaimed. The ICU erupted in relieved chaos. Dr. Patel looked at Marcus through the glass. Really looked at him. Then she walked out, pulled him aside. "You just saved my patient. Again." Her voice was quiet. "I've been practicing for 15 years. I almost killed her." "You followed protocol," Marcus said. "Most asystole cases do need epi, but with the drug-induced HCM crisis, the heart's already irritable. You made the right call when it mattered." Dr. Patel studied his face. "How many cardiac arrests have you managed?" "Over 300. She took a breath. "Victoria's stable, but barely. She needs surgery, mitral valve repair and septal myectomy. Without it, she'll arrest again within 24 hours. Marcus nodded. "I know." "That's a 6-hour surgery, extremely complex. I'd need my best team." "You'd need someone who's done it before." Dr. Patel looked at him. "How many times have you performed septal myectomy?" 63 times, 58 successful outcomes. That's a 92% success rate. That's world-class." Marcus said nothing. Dr. Patel's face showed the war inside her. "If you still had your license, I'd ask you to scrub in. But you don't, and I could lose mine just for having this conversation." "I know." They stood in silence. Victoria's voice weak through the glass. "I want Marcus to do my surgery." Dr. Patel stepped back inside. "Ms. Ashford, Dr. Hayes isn't licensed. It would be illegal." Victoria's eyes blazed with desperate intensity. "I don't care. I trust him. More than anyone. The hospital could lose accreditation. I could lose my license. Then I'll sign a waiver. I'll take full responsibility. If I'm going to die, I want it to be because my body failed, not because bureaucracy stopped the best surgeon from helping." Dr. Patel shook her head. "A waiver doesn't protect us legally." The ICU door opened. Hospital Administrator Richard Cow entered, 50s, expensive suit, bureaucrat's eyes. "Dr. Patel, I heard we have an unlicensed individual providing medical care. Is this true?" Dr. Patel straightened. "Mr. Cow, Dr. Hayes saved this patient's life. Twice. I don't care if he's Jesus Christ. He's unlicensed. Get him out of this ICU immediately or you're both facing suspension." Victoria tried to sit up but failed. "You throw him out, I die, and this hospital gets sued into oblivion." Cow's face reddened. "Are you threatening? I'm stating facts. This man is the only one who can save me. Let him work or my lawyers will destroy you, Doctor." Carter entered. "Mr. Cow, before you make a terrible mistake, know this. That video of Dr. Hayes saving Ms. Ashford has 50,000 views already. Comments are demanding justice. If this hospital prevents him from treating her, the PR nightmare will bury you." Cow pulled out his phone, checked Twitter. Justice for Dr. Hayes was trending. "Let him operate," one comment read. "This hospital is evil if they stop him," said another. Thousands of similar messages. Cow's face went pale. Dr. Carter pressed. "There's a loophole. Dr. Hayes doesn't perform the surgery. Dr. Patel does. Dr. Hayes is present as a medical consultant, providing verbal guidance only. Technically, he's not practicing medicine. He's consulting." Cow's eyes narrowed. "That's a legal gray area. Gray is better than black, and that woman doesn't have time for ethics committees." Silence. Then Cow, defeated. "Fine, but if this goes wrong, I will never approve it." He left. Dr. Patel looked at Marcus. "I'll do the surgery. You guide me through every step." Marcus nodded. "When?" "Now. She doesn't have time to wait." 9:45 p.m. The operating room prepped. Dr. Patel scrubbed in with her team. Anesthesia began putting Victoria under. Marcus stood behind glass outside the sterile field. He couldn't enter, couldn't touch, couldn't physically help. All he had was his voice. Victoria, drifting under sedation, looked toward him one last time. "Thank you," she mouthed. The anesthesia took her. Marcus put on a headset. His voice would feed directly into the OR. Dr. Patel stood over Victoria's unconscious body, scalpel in hand. She looked at the glass partition where Marcus stood. "Dr. Hayes, I'm ready." Marcus took a breath. 4 years away from the operating room, 4 years of scrubbing toilets. Now he had to perform the most difficult surgery of his career, without touching the patient. "Make your incision at the 4th intercostal space, mid-clavicular line," Marcus said calmly. "Steady hand. This is where we begin." 9:53 p.m. Dr. Patel made the first incision. Marcus's voice came through her headset, calm and steady. "Good. Now open the pericardium. You'll see the hypertrophied septum, approximately 2.8 centimeters thick. We need to resect 1.2 centimeters. The surgery began. For 6 hours, Marcus guided every movement. Dr. Patel's hands performed the surgery, but Marcus's mind orchestrated it. "Careful with the mitral valve. See that torn leaflet? Repair it with a single 5-0 proline suture. Not too tight. You'll restrict flow." Dr. Patel worked, her confidence growing with each instruction. Midnight. A complication. Bleeding from the left ventricle. Dr. Patel's voice showed panic. "Dr. Hayes, I can't stop it." Marcus remained calm. "Breathe. Apply direct pressure with gauze for 30 seconds. The tissue is fragile. Don't over-suture or you'll tear it more." She did. 30 seconds felt eternal. The bleeding stopped. "You did it," Marcus said. "Keep going." 3 a.m. The critical moment, resecting the thickened septum. One wrong move could kill Victoria instantly. Marcus guided Dr. Patel's hands like a conductor leading an orchestra, millimeter by millimeter. Precise, perfect. 4:30 a.m. The final suture. "Close her up," Marcus said softly. "You did beautifully." Dr. Patel stepped back, exhausted, trembling. "No, we did beautifully." 5:15 a.m. Victoria was wheeled to recovery. Stable. Vital signs are strong. Dr. Patel emerged from the OR, pulled off her mask, saw Marcus still standing behind the glass, exactly where he'd been for 6 hours. "That was the most incredible surgical guidance I've ever experienced," she said. "You just performed a 6-hour surgery without touching the patient." Marcus smiled faintly. "You did the work." "No, you saved her." Again. 10 a.m. Victoria woke up in the ICU, groggy, disoriented. Saw Marcus sitting in a chair beside her bed. "I'm alive?" Her voice hoarse from the breathing tube. Marcus nodded. "Surgery went well. You'll need 6 weeks recovery." Tears streamed down her face. "Marcus, I owe you everything. My life. 3 times over. I'll spend the rest of my life making this right." Marcus stood. "Just tell the truth. That's all I ask." He walked toward the door. "Marcus?" He stopped. "Why did you save me? After everything I did?" Marcus looked back. "Because that's who I am. You tried to destroy that. You failed." He left. Behind him, Victoria wept. Day 1 after surgery. Michelle Carter's Bloomberg article went live. The janitor who saved his enemy, Dr. Marcus Hayes, was destroyed by lies, then proved he's still a hero. 5 million views by noon, 10 million by evening. The video went viral. #Justice for Dr. Hayes trended worldwide. Comments flooded in. "This man cleaned toilets and never lost his dignity. He saved the woman who destroyed him. That's grace." 2,000 lives saved, and they made him a janitor. Every news network picked up the story. The footage played everywhere. Marcus kneeling beside Victoria, his hands moving with surgical precision, the room silent. Day 3. Victoria, propped up in her hospital bed, recorded a confession. My name is Victoria Ashford. 4 years ago, I committed fraud. I forged evidence to destroy Dr. Marcus Hayes because he refused my exploitative contract. Her voice shook. I took everything from a brilliant physician. I destroyed a good man because of greed. Tears streamed down her face. Last week, Dr. Hayes saved my life 3 times, despite everything I did to him. She looked into the camera. I'm resigning as CEO of Sterling Pharmaceuticals. I'm cooperating with authorities. I will spend the rest of my life atoning. In 15 million views in 24 hours. Sterling stock plummeted 40%. 5 executives resigned. The FDA investigated Cardio Revive, found it dangerous for patients with pre-existing conditions. Day 5. The New York State Medical Board announced, we are reviewing Dr. Marcus Hayes' license revocation. New evidence suggests it was based on fraudulent testimony. Day 7. Marcus reported to his janitor shift. His contract hadn't ended. But everything was different. Employees stopped him, shook his hand, apologized. The man who'd made the affirmative action comment approached, face red with shame. Dr. Hayes, what I said, I'm so sorry. Marcus looked at him, then nodded. Apology accepted. Day 10. His phone rang. Unknown number. Dad? Marcus's breath caught. Daniel. I saw everything. Dad, I'm so sorry. I abandoned you. Can we talk? Please? His son's voice broke. Marcus closed his eyes, tears falling. Yes, son. I'd love that. Day 14. The medical board held a press conference. After thorough investigation, Dr. Marcus Hayes was wrongfully accused. His medical license is fully restored, effective immediately. They handed Marcus a new license. His hands shook. Dr. Patel stood beside him. Mount Sinai Hospital offers Dr. Hayes the position of attending cardiothoracic surgeon. Marcus looked up, surprised. We need you, Dr. Patel said. The patients need you. Marcus's voice was rough. I accept. Day 21. Victoria pleaded guilty. Sentenced to 200 hours community service at a free clinic, $2 million restitution to Marcus, 10-year ban from pharmaceuticals. Outside the courthouse, she told reporters, I deserve worse. Dr. Hayes gave me a second chance at life. Day 30. Marcus's last day as a janitor. He pushed his cart through Sterling Pharmaceuticals one final time. Employees lined the hallways, applauding. He reached the 45th floor, the conference room where everything had changed. He took off the blue uniform for the last time. From his locker, he pulled out a white doctor's coat, his name embroidered on the chest. Dr. Marcus Hayes, M.D., Cardiothoracic Surgery. He put it on, walked to the elevator. The same white man who'd refused to ride with the janitor stood inside. Recognized Marcus, face pale. Dr. Hayes, please, come in. Marcus stepped in. I'm sorry, the man whispered. Marcus said nothing. The doors closed. He was no longer invisible. 6 months later. Mount Sinai Hospital, Operating Room 3. Marcus stood over an open chest cavity performing a complex bypass. 8 hours in. His hands moved with precision. The surgery succeeded. The patient, a retired firefighter given 2 weeks to live, would recover. Marcus stepped out. The man's family waited. He's stable, Marcus said. The surgery went well. The wife collapsed in tears, hugging him. You saved him. Marcus smiled gently. This is what I do. Down the hall, Victoria volunteered at the free clinic. She helped a homeless veteran fill out Medicaid forms. Her hands, once manicured for boardrooms, now doing humble work. Marcus walked past, saw her through the window. Their eyes met. Victoria stepped into the hallway. The surgery today went well. Congratulations. Marcus nodded. I know I can never undo what I did, she said. But I'm trying. Every day. I know. Marcus walked on. People ask me, how did you forgive her? How did you save someone who destroyed you? Because I'm a doctor. Being a doctor isn't about titles or recognition. It's about who you are when no one's watching. When you have every reason to walk away, but you stay. Victoria took my career, my family, my dignity. But she couldn't take my humanity. The world tried to make me invisible, put me in a janitor's uniform and told me I was worthless. But they forgot. Greatness doesn't come from what others call you. It comes from what you do when it matters most. You might be underestimated, overlooked, written off. Remember this. Your value isn't determined by people who reject you. It's proven by the lives you touch when they need you most. They can take your job, your reputation, your status, but they can't take your skill, your knowledge, your character. When someone's life hangs in the balance, those things are all that matter. I spent 4 years invisible, but I was never gone. I was waiting for the moment to prove. You can't destroy someone whose purpose is bigger than your hate. If this story moved you, share it with someone who feels invisible, who feels defeated. Remind them, their value isn't measured by those who reject them. It's proven when they rise anyway. Comment below, what would you do if you were Marcus? Would you save the person who destroyed you? The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Better, Marcus Aurelius, Nair, Justice for der Hayes, the janitor doctor, hash dignity over vengeance.